to Bite Size Sports, folks. I am your host, Kev. So happy to be with you today. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Before we talk about all
I'm
the
gonna say this:
insanity that has
when it
been
comes to
the
quarterbacks at the
NFL
University of
wildcard
Georgia,
weekend, we have to look
it's pretty
at
cool to be standing on the
the
stage with the GOAT.
equally chaotic college basketball slate because just about everybody that was ranked went down on Saturday. Now, of course,
Instead,
we
obviously,
start with
everybody knows your
Kansas
story.
edging
Everybody
out Iowa
knows
State
you
there.
came back this year.
Alabama.
But when you look back on your career, you look back on this
They
journey,
put a
what would
hurting
be the thing
on
you'd be
LSU.
most
That may
proud
be
of
the
as a
biggest
dog?
biggest blowout of the day. But let's get into what begins our upset special. Of course, we have Kentucky taking down the Volunteers 63-56. Now, UCLA held firm, as did
Yes, Shaq, I don't
Gonzaga,
know.
but we're going to start to see the trend here.
I don't know what
Oregon
I'm
takes down
most proud of.
Arizona 87
I keep trying to tell people I just did what I
68.
thought was right every day.
Texas holds against Texas
if you
Tech
think
by
you should
2.
do that, then what-
TCU upsets
I think
Kansas
everybody
State.
should do
A
it,
big
you know?
one there, 14-point win.
The thing I'm gonna be most proud
beats
of-
Florida State, but Vanderbilt with the 13th upset of 15th ranked Arkansas.
Man,
now
y'all
NC
burn
State
us.
would also
Y'all
edge out
burn
the
us.
Hurricanes.
Y'all kept telling us how bad we were,
81,
and
bringing Miami
y'all
to
couldn't
now
understand it,
14-3, still pretty solid
know,
record. Now here,
and we kept
we're going to
winning,
skip
and-
Indiana and Wisconsin for a moment, but that's
And
only
we kept
because this is
embarrassing
the
people,
game
but
that
y'all
I
had
had
other
the chance to watch,
storylines,
so we can actually dive a little more
and it was
deeply into
49-3,
Creighton
and it
beats
was,
Providence, Florida upsets
65-7.
Missouri.
It was everything.
Auburn
And y'all
does
didn't
hold
want to
on
believe it because you
against
didn't.
Mississippi State.
It
Charleston
makes no sense to me.
beats
Ah.
Well, that's the thing.
Hey, but,
New Mexico, 76 to
screw it, we got 2
67
rings, man,
over
you know?
San Diego
No doubt,
State,
no
and
doubt.
Clemson beat Duke. So while there were, of course, a few teams in the
Chris,
rankings that held on
As a guy
for dear
who had a
life and
chance to
managed to
leave
squeak
last
out a
year,
win, a lot of
came
them
back,
were upset, including
why did you feel it was
Wisconsin.
important to come back for this
18th
season
ranked
when you had a chance
Badgers
to leave
who
and
were
go fulfill your dreams?
thumped pretty handily in the second half.
It definitely was a tough decision.
by the
Something
Indiana
that I had to
Hoosiers, a
talk to
team
with my
that
coaches and my
just
parents,
about a
'cause,
week
you know,
ago was
growing up your whole life, all you want
top
to do is go to the
15
NFL.
team themselves.
And when you had an opportunity, you're
prior
so
to
close
losing
to it,
to
you want to take that
Northwestern.
chance.
The
But I
interesting
just
thing
felt it
from
was
this
a good time
game,
for me to
Indiana
come
was
back.
missing
It's
two
been
of
another
their
season with the
best
guys.
guards,
It's been another season with the coaches, perfecting my game
freshman
plan.
Hood
Building that
Schifino
connection that
stepped
we had
up.
all
What
year.
they were able to
You
do
know, I'm
with
very glad I
Jackson
did. It's the
and
best
Hood
decision I
Schifino
could
just
ever
doing
make.
sort of a
Just being able to
pick
go
and
back to back
roll,
with the guys.
with
And
Hood
experience
Schifino
Dog
just
Nation for
shooting
one
the
more year,
pull-up
man. It was real
jumper.
special
It
for
was
sure.
true. It was
Say, I want
smooth.
to ask you about
It was choice.
the big
They
guys.
were
And I don't
unstoppable.
know,
It was
people don't know
interesting,
you're the
though,
center,
as
you
we
control
look
everything.
into this one a
Us
little bit
quarterbacks
more.
think
The
we
first
control.
half was a close game. I believe it was maybe a 1-point lead. I know it was a one-possession game. So this one was anybody's game up until they came out for the second half. That is when Indiana went on a run. At one point, they had scored 13 unanswered. So much of this was that the Badgers just could not get a shot to go down. Indiana was playing good defense, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't all about that. It was just as much Wisconsin couldn't drop a bucket. And, yeah, they outscored Wisconsin 42-25 in the second half. It got ugly. It would not have been a fun game to watch, but this Indiana team is puzzling to me because they went and win games like this when two of their best players are out. So I would love to be all in on the Hoosiers, folks. I really would. But I still need to see more. So we will see how the rest of the week plays out in the Big Ten and in the rest of college football, basketball. Spoiler alert, as we segue into our big college football news, which is still in the Big Ten. C.J. Stroud waited until about the last possible minute to finally declare for the NFL draft, which has Colts fans and I'm sure fans of a few other teams breathing a major sigh of relief because I am still very scared of my favorite team's franchise quarterback pouring mayonnaise into his coffee. So let's not and say we did, shall we? Nothing against Will Levis as a person. I need to watch more tape. I've been watching it as the hype trains are rolling out, but I still just don't have enough that I've seen that has me in or interested in this guy at all. So we'll see what these teams at the top do. There is some rumbling now that Bryce Young may fall on people's boards because of his size. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's been proven wrong enough times in the league, but teams still want to go after that prototypical size, and to each their own, I guess. But if I am the Colts, I'm really hoping that C.J. Stroud makes it to 4. I've seen some very bad trade offers or trade rumors. One in particular involved DeForest Buckner and I think another first-round pick to move up from 4 to 1. And more picks were implied. I don't remember all of the details because it was just that bad of a trade, right? I didn't even want to give it the time of day. Most of the quote tweets about it were calling out how ridiculous it was, and that's one of the downsides to all of this, right? To the fact that anyone can hop on stream, anyone can write an article, anyone can become an insider on Twitter, that people just start to make stuff up and they get 1 out of 27 right, and they will put that one on their Twitter banner. So they as seen on ESPN or whatever nonsense, and then people start to take that stuff seriously, and then you have just some of these egregious trade rumors that are out there that just don't make sense at all. But let me know. Give me a comment or reach out to me on Twitter. Let me know. Show me. I would love to see your worst trade rumors, your worst takes that you are seeing on Twitter. And feel free, if it's easier to just tell me here in the comment, I'm all about it. But yeah, if you see that, a good time for me to mention our newest Twitter project, which is just an old segment brought to a new platform. So Cool Stat Bro with an underscore at the end is now an active Twitter account on Twitter, managed by yours truly here at Bitesize Sports. So if you have a cool stat, bro, whether it be sarcastically or one that you genuinely think is cool, please feel free to tag that Twitter handle, and feel free to just copy and paste. I mean, I want you to use the photo, and I'm working on more, but I want to have variants of this bad boy. But would also love it if you could tag us either in the photo or in your Twitter response, just so we can collect it, because the goal here with Cool Stat Bro is to not just have myself or Sean or maybe Nate be the one to provide them, but to have you, the viewer, be on the show. There's a number of ways we'd like to do it, but definitely through Cool Stat Bro. So if you see something cool, you tag us in it, we'll screenshot it. If you want to be anonymous for whatever reason, just mention that. Otherwise, we want to give you your shine, right? We want you to be on the show. That's what the point of this whole thing is. We will start to live stream some of the Bite Size podcasts. Of course, we've done it before. I've been doing that on my personal Twitch and then uploading it onto YouTube, but we are going to start to live stream on YouTube. So I would subscribe if you're interested in that. Go ahead and turn the bell notifications on. I'm working on a schedule, and it will be posted to the community tab. I will post it on Twitter. We're still we're ironing out some things in 2023 to settle into a schedule. And the good news is it's really not anything that's going on here that is causing it. I will spare you some of the details, but as some of you know, I work for multiple publications and podcast with other companies as well. So there are just some new opportunities, some things that have been happening that I want to continue to grow on all fronts. So it's a double-sided sword, I guess, but one of the beauties of having your own platform is that when your other jobs come calling, the easiest way for me to take time off is to do it here, or in a sense, not even necessarily taking time off, but it's it's easier for me to be flexible with my schedule. And unfortunately, sometimes that comes at your expense, and I appreciate those of you who stick with it and just keep an eye out for those notifications. But we are working to get a more set schedule for you. But that's just boring. We're here to talk about sports, man. Kevin, shut up. What are we talking about? The NFL draft. Let me know in a comment on Twitter, however you want to do it. Who do you want to see your team pick? Here are my rankings, and I'm giving you 4 quarterbacks because these are the 4 names I hear the most, not necessarily because they're whom I deem to be the top 4, But at this exact moment, I don't have other names that I'm going to add. We'll dive into that later. So we have Stroud, Bryce Young, we have Will Levis, and we have Anthony Richardson, AR-15, as some of you might have seen on social media. If I'm stack ranking these guys, I personally, I'm trying to avoid the recency bias because I've been torn between Young and Stroud throughout most of the season. In fact, if you check the Indy Intercept archives over at Stadium Rant on the podcast, on the podcast, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we were talking about this in Week 7 back when they thought the Colts were going to be good, when we all thought they might still win some games. And I remember then daydreaming about C.J. Stroud. Wouldn't it be nice if the Colts could somehow be in that position? So I guess some of this might be my fault, might be my bad karma there. Careful what you wish for, folks. But I have been high on C.J. Stroud from the beginning, and then, of course, he had his struggles throughout the regular season. People started to wane on him a little bit, myself included. It's like, oh, man, maybe I was wrong here. So it's really tough for me. All that being said, I'm going to put Young slightly above C.J. Stroud, but that's mainly just me trying to compensate for my own bias here. So don't be surprised. I expect this to change. We're going to do more research on all 4 of these guys, and we'll figure it out. And there will be other quarterbacks we'll dive into as well. But right now, let's do it this way. My personal opinion, okay? Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Richardson, Will Levis. That's where I'm at with it. From the perspective of a Colts fan as well, I guess. Take that for what you will. And maybe it's not fair to Will. And I'm just going to call it out because we're thinking through this one. But I have to ask myself, if Will Levis had played at a different school, would I be giving him more credit? So just to be transparent and to mention to all of you that you may see this opinion completely change, but I have bad memories. Most NFL fans my age or older, or just really any Browns fans, understand where this fear comes from. I think the only 2 Kentucky quarterbacks I can name off the top of my head that were in the league are, of course, Tim Couch and Jared Lorenzen, who was a blessing to all of us. But unfortunately, not great in that sense, in an NFL quarterback sense. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm all in for Stroud if I am the Colts. But while we are here talking about people's potential quarterback options, let's talk about the Band-Aid potentials. So we've got, Derek Carr rumored to be in multiple places. Here are the names that I've heard. We've got both New Yorks I've heard, which I bet that goes away a little bit now, doesn't it, after a playoff win? So the Jets I would agree with. I've got the Colts, unfortunately, on the list. I've seen the Titans on the list. And in our last episode of Supersize Sports, Sean brought up the New Orleans Saints, which I think is a good opportunity. Let's throw Aaron Rodgers in the mix real quickly. His options that I've seen would be Las Vegas. Would make sense pairing back up with Devontae Adams, but outside of that, I don't know if it makes sense. And where are they getting the money from? I don't know. That's just reporting the weather here, folks. Again, Indianapolis for Aaron Rodgers. Again, Tennessee for Aaron Rodgers. And I would have to assume New Orleans as well. I'm just going to steal Sean's take and say if it would be a good fit for Derek Carr, why wouldn't it be a good fit for any place where Derek Carr would be conceivably an option? I think that team will be interested in Aaron Rodgers. Now, whether or not he will be interested is quite another question, and you can't rule out retirement with Aaron Rodgers. You have to rule it out with Derek Carr because he's come out and said it, in that tweet, that official statement where he said, I know I Said I'd rather retire than not be a Raider, but psych. Which again, I don't. Can you blame the guy? That's what you're supposed to say, whether he believed it or not at the time. And I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that I believe that he believed it when he said it. However, now it's outside of his hands and he's not ready to retire. So of course you're gonna walk that back a little bit and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here to play." But I don't know realistically where he lands. Aaron Rodgers, I could see him just retiring. He has a Super Bowl. He's 9th all time in the NFL in passing. Maybe he's just done. The locker room didn't seem super happy. That Alan Lazard interview after that last game of the regular season, I still can't quite figure out. But it doesn't seem like anything good is going on there. So where will Aaron Rodgers go if he does decide to leave? I think it has to be a team with major play, not only playoff potential. Like this is there a team that's a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender? Is there? I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe it is one of these playoff teams. Maybe I should retract my previous statement about the Giants. Maybe they will fall flat on their face next week and they'll be all out on Danny Dimes and say, "Wow, look how far we got if only we had our quarterback." I don't know. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but is Ron Rivera going to be able to convince any of these guys that they're just a quarterback away from winning the division? And hey, once you're in the once you're there, you're there. Will Tampa Bay become an opening for a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr? Because I'm hearing rumors not only that Tom Brady will be pursued heavily by the San Francisco 49ers, which I think we all expect because it's been rumored before. Everyone knows those connections. But now the Las Vegas Raiders, it has been reported, are also going to be going after Tom Brady, which I think is a bit crazy. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in a comment right now. What do you got? The Las Vegas Raiders going after Tom Brady. I can't even believe it. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for all of you so that way you know that I'm not making this up. So let's pull it up here and you can see that it is reported the Las Vegas Raiders plan to aggressively pursue Buccaneers Tom Brady. Now, I haven't seen, you know what, let's check NFL rumors. I want to make sure, is this the same rumor site that reported our DeForest Buckner nonsense? Let's check it out. Let's suss out whatever I'm trying to say. Let's sort through these rumors, shall we? Colts request interview with D'Amico Ryans. That's good. That's confirmed, so that we're off to a good start. Jonah Williams has dislocated kneecap. It's likely he will miss the game this week versus the Bills. That is also confirmed, so we're off to a good start. NFL rumors. I'm liking it. Michael Vick give thoughts on. Oh, I don't want to hear more about. Okay, you know what? I will. Let's stop and just for 1 second while we're here and say Michael Vick is wrong about Lamar Jackson. Did Charles Woodson agree with him? I don't really want to put Charles into this. It's the first time I've seen his name in reference to this quote, but so I'm just going to say this. Michael Vick is absolutely 100% wrong about his take on Lamar Jackson. Not only is it a contract year for Lamar, but just look at RG3, look at Robert Griffin III, and look at his take on this matter. I believe he even quote tweeted one of these and just said, I did that. I put the brace on it for my brothers and my teammates, and look at what might have been. And I am another one that believes that Robert Griffin would have had a future in the league had he been able to stay healthy, but that's not what happened. And for Mike Vick, you would think, and apples to grapefruits here, admittedly, but you would think a guy like Mike Vick, who also lost some of his precious youth and precious years in the league, you would think he's a guy who would appreciate that those are years you can't get back. So I think it's unexplainable, almost inexcusable for Mike Vick to even have this take, that he should rub some dirt in it, so to speak, and just play through it. I mean, how logical is that at that rate? I don't want to completely dig open these old wounds, but also, is Mike Vick the guy to call that out. Yes, Vic did his time. He's gone through, but like you're gonna call a guy out for not playing with a knee. Like there's a lot of stuff that you could have done differently to make sure you were there for your teammates. So I don't know if playing through an injury would be right. Look at the team's record with and without Lamar. It's absurd how bad they are without him. So yes, could he have played through this game, potentially gotten them to win, but at what cost for their future? They're going to mortgage the whole future to get one more round in the playoffs. There's no guarantees. Maybe anything could happen, so maybe that Ravens team makes it to the Super Bowl. But do you really believe that? I don't. I don't believe they had any kind of chance. So why would a franchise player like that who's up for a contract negotiation, why would he do that? And why would anyone who actually cares about him and his teammates included? No. I mean, the only teammate or coach or anyone that I could even conceivably understand if they would have this take is if it's their last year. Someone's over the hill. This is my last season, man. You sure you can't tape it up and give us a go so I can win one in my final year? But even then, I think it's just a horrible take, absolutely horrible take. So let's get back to where we were with these Tom Brady rumors. So yeah, it does look like NFL rumors is legit. So that's what we were looking at there. And to get back to it with these, we're going to wrap up this veteran QB carousel segment right here, right now with this. Just a question to all of you. Where do you see these guys going? Is there anyone else on the carousel that you expect to move? And what about there's some other questionable guys out in the ether right now, like a Zach Wilson is what's going to happen there? Are we going to see anything there? Where do you think Geno's going to go? I think he's staying put. I think the Seahawks found their guy. I don't know how expensive he'll be, but I think he's going to stay put. But, change my mind if you disagree. But I think Aaron Rodgers either stays in Green Bay or retires because I think there were better opportunities for him to go somewhere else before. And now I just don't see that opportunity that makes sense where he can be plugged in and the team will be a winner and a Super Bowl contender. So that's my take on it. Derek Carr, I like Sean's take of New Orleans. I like that one a lot. He's convinced me of that one over our last episode, but I'm going to stick with the Jets as my favorite there because that does seem to be a team that at the very least is a quality playoff team with a quarterback upgrade. So I could see Derek Carr making that move, waiving his no-trade clause, which is an important thing for that assignment we just had. As you're thinking about this, remember that Derek Carr has to agree with wherever he gets traded to. So it's not going to be a bad situation for him no matter what. And with Tom Brady, that's the real question mark. I'll be honest, I think it's over in Tampa. Let's think about this. The Miami Dolphin allegations, those rumors. And everybody is saying, like, Sean Payton, welcome to L.A., you're the new Chargers coach. But how quickly we forget, folks, that just a year ago, Sean Payton and Tom Brady were allegedly trying to work their way to Miami. So let's not rule that out. It might not be Miami this time, but with Tua's concussion situation, it very well might still be Miami. No, I don't think they're going to get rid of their coach. I think McDaniel, I think they like him. I am still very confused by the man, to be honest. Some weeks I think he's phenomenal. Other weeks I kind of think he's a hack. But Sean Payton is Sean Payton. That seems to be a proven track record that lots of people around the league respect. Bounty Gate aside, which we don't have time for today, but it'd be hard for me to say, especially the Dolphins. Again, it's really hard for me to rule out that they would just move on from coach and quarterback if it gave them an opportunity to put Tom Brady with all those weapons and bring Sean Payton in, especially when we know that they tried to do it before. So don't rule out something like that. And it could be another team. Who else is out there that has an owner that might be willing to do something like this? And the Chargers job still isn't open yet officially. So who's to say? Where will they go? You let me know, because I'm confused. I have no idea what's going on. Much like the sports entertainers. I almost called them wrestlers, but, I can't do that quite yet. Vince has not sold yet. So for those of you who didn't hear, let's rewind back to Friday, where on an episode of WWE SmackDown, Charlotte Flair, Rick's daughter, for those of you who don't know, you probably at least know who Ric Flair is, was in the middle of a promo with, I believe it's Sonya Deville. That part isn't super important. What is important is that Grizzlies fans introduced the WWE Universe to a little chant us hoopheads are well familiar with. In the midst of a championship match promo, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to take your belt kind of stuff, the raucous Memphis crowd started the infamous whoop that trick chant in the direction of the heel, Sonya Deville. So at one point, Charlotte even had to say, I think they're calling you a trick. It was, fantastic. I just love that crossover. No deep analysis there, folks. That's really just a palate cleanser. I would show it to you, but it's the WWE and they'll copyright claim. I'll lose this whole video over that giggle, but I implore you to go check it out. And I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor. I'll post it on Bite Size Twitter account, and then I'll retweet it. So if you just follow me, you don't have to search. Not that, because I know Google searching things is so very hard in current day. But there you have it. Just a great crossover, an amalgamation of two things that I love, being basketball and professional wrestling. So moving back to something that all of you probably care a lot more about, which is the wild card weekend. Now we're going to do our full recap either late tonight, being Monday as of recording, or we're going to do it Tuesday. But either way, we're going to redo some of this when we do a specific wild card weekend recap. Although it's Monday, guys, give me a break here. But I do want to talk about a couple of takeaways from Saturday's games, because we missed our opportunity to have the Twitter space that we wanted to have for Jags fans and AFC South fans, because someone, yours truly, not only predicted the Jags would win the division. So, it's been almost 2 months now at this point, but there was about 4 or 5 weeks left of the regular season when we made that call. And then last week in the Jaguars-Chargers preview article, which you can read at Bite Size Sports at our publication, which currently runs on Medium. So if you're on that platform, give us a read. If not, I do post some things on Facebook as well, but we're going to have a Bite Size Sports Substack. We were working through review, which for those of you who don't know, that Twitter program, that's going away. Might be gone already. Don't remember the exact date, but leaving in January. So Bite Size Sports newsletter will return, but in the meantime, we're on Medium, so you can check out that preview where I predicted, spoiler alert, the Jags would win. Not only that, but we cashed on a nice little parlay. I will get the screenshot. I have it up on Twitter right now, so you can fact check me immediately on this one. I don't have it for this stream, but the in-game parlay that we played was based on the analysis that I got from researching these two teams for that prediction, and that was ETN 79.5 yards over, Austin Eckler anytime touchdown score, Austin Eckler under 50 yards rushing, and Evan Ingram over 39.5 yards receiving. Can you believe that? I also told all of you on Twitter, those who were there to see it, that the Jaguars defense is number 2 in the NFL in defending against the pass, in defending running backs against the pass. They're about league average, their corners are, so the one weak spot in their pass coverage was the tight end, where they were 30th in the NFL against covering tight ends. And so we told you ahead of time to watch those Gerald Everett prop bets, did we not? You can fact check me there as well. That paid off for those of you who cashed in. Now, I did have one buddy who took all of my advice when it came to the Jags and Chargers, but he parlayed it. He parlayed it with the Bills beating the Dolphins or beating the spread, and that ruined the whole parlay. So it was unfortunate. I hope that those of you who had your parlays this week, and I hope you hit. But we will continue to talk more and more about not only fantasy but sports betting. Eventually, we'll branch that off into a separate channel. For those of you who don't really want to hear it, you might not be here for it. And we are very active in those communities, all of us here at Bite Size Sports, so why not? We want to talk about it. We want to share our strategies with you. We want to work with you, so be on the lookout for that. And again, stay subscribed, notified, and we'll community post. We will certainly let you know when it's coming, but it's coming here in 2023. So off of the sports betting for now, we've got Bucs, Cowboys. Again, we will review the rest of the Saturday games here, Sunday games in the upcoming episode. But Bucs, Cowboys, I've got the Cowboys in this one. You already know that because you have seen my bracket, because you watched Supersize Sports last episode. But here it is, just in case you didn't see it. So how am I doing so far, boys? How am I doing? We had the Niners. God, I had the Vikings. All right. Oh, so far so good. Only lost one game. We're cooking with oil here over at Bite Size Sports. Let's check. We're just going to quickly check on everybody. This was not planned. Here's Sean. Sean got that so far. Sean has gotten them all right. Look out. Look out for Sean, folks. What about Dino? What about our first intern here? I should say our second intern. Lenny's going to get mad. He has Tampa winning tonight. Okay, we got the Giants. You got that one right. But he had the Chargers doing a little bit of work, and that is going to cost him. Also, the Ravens. Tough. Submitted that pick before Lamar was officially ruled out, just so we're all clear. And let's go to Nate. He's got 49ers as his champion. And he, like me, had the Vikings winning. And he, like Dino, had the Chargers in the AFC Championship. So that's kind of a bummer. I tell you what, folks, it is certainly looking like it's going to be between me and Sean B. But we have one more person to check on, and that is good old Lenny. I've got to pull that up off of Twitter. But we did everybody else, so we're going to do Lenny. Damn it. You just can't not do it. And here we go. I got to remove Nate so you can see Lenny. Yeah, he's done, right? The upset special does not pay off for intern Lenny, who will unfortunately probably be dealing with some verbal abuse from Sean. I'm just kidding. He's a good guy. Don't cancel him. I'm making it up. It's a bit. So there you have it. We'll keep an eye on that, but you already know who's going to win. It's going to be me. So I had mentioned some thoughts about Saturday's game that I then, of course, just sped right over because we were talking about the prop bets. So I didn't get to talk to you about the other Saturday game, the 49ers against the Seahawks. We mentioned, I think Geno is that guy in Seattle. Is Brock Purdy that guy in San Francisco? I keep hearing other people's names mentioned to be the quarterback in San Francisco next year. And I just want to throw out this possibility. If we see another good game like that, is it possible that the Niners will just run it back with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance and see what they've got? And I say that because they drafted Trey Lance, what was that, third? I can't remember. He was a top 5 pick here. So like they thought they had their guy to the point where he was starting over Jimmy Garoppolo. Are they really going to add Tom Brady for 1 year and then try Trey Lance again? Now, with the injury, that may work out. I don't know what the timeline is for his recovery, so it might work out perfectly. I may be dead wrong for that exact reason. It may be something where it's like, well, this way we don't have to rush Trey Lance back. We get 1 year with Tom, and then boom, we run it back with our new young running quarterback, and we'll have an adjusted offense. But that's my thing. What you do with and for Tom Brady is going to be so different from what you're going to draw up for Trey Lance. And maybe there's some similarity between Purdy and Lance that it doesn't have to be completely night and day. But with Brady and Trey Lance, the difference in mobility is just so stark that how would you even call plays if Trey Lance is your backup to Tom Brady? You have a second playbook out there. It's just going to be very awkward to me, to my opinion. I think if you see another good game out of Brock Purdy, which let's acknowledge, he had some guys that were wide open. I don't think that's going to happen in this next round, which is why I'm saying we need to see one more good playoff game from him before I'm over the moon the way everyone else is. You know, we got people talking about this guy as if he's one of the greats already, which is just absurd. But I wouldn't be in such a hurry if I'm San Francisco to go sign a Tom Brady. But maybe is this, to take it back to our last segment, is this somewhere that Derek Carr wants to go to? Would he be willing to take a trade? I don't know. Again, I've made my point. I would rather run it back with Purdy and Trey Lance. I'm pretty confident in doing that even now. I want to see one more game, but I might just make that call now. So, Jaguars-Chargers, the real question here, I knew this would be the best game of Wild Card Weekend, which there's only one more game that could potentially stop us now. And we shall see if Buccaneers-Cowboys is as entertaining as we all hope that it is. But I have a feeling it's going to be kind of flat and boring with lots of turnovers. But that's the next segment, so let's hang on a second. The Chargers need a new head coach. I feel bad for Justin Herbert. Obviously, he's got some responsibility here. That offense just floundered in the second half, fell apart completely, did not do much, and they lost. Jaguars deserve to win, yada, yada. I thought it was weird that everybody immediately went to Sean Payton, but let me say this. If it's not Sean Payton, if this team gets the right coach, the right coordinators, and they can build around it and build around Justin Herbert, he's going to be phenomenal. They're going to be here in the playoffs time and time again, and I think we'll see them get through and win some games in the playoffs with Justin Herbert as their quarterback. I would not lose faith, Chargers fans. I think you have a good team. You happen to run into a team that was full of momentum. It's amazing that the Jaguars were able to come back after such a poor first half. Trevor Lawrence with the 4 interceptions, which those of you who follow Pat McAfee probably already know because of my tweet. He was asking someone else about if this had ever happened before, this being the 4 interceptions in a playoff game and a win, which, yes, it has happened before. And it's happened multiple times. I think this is the 5th time now. So George Blanda has the record with 5 interceptions in a win against I believe it's also the Chargers. I'm going to pull this up for you. But we have a new record in a sense because Trevor Lawrence was the first quarterback to throw 4 interceptions in the first half of a playoff game and win. It might have even been the first time anyone. Let's see. Let's pull it up. We've got it to share with all of you folks. First quarterback to throw 4+ interceptions in single half of postseason game and win. So, yes, it was the postseason game. But what we have here is the list. If it will load, I can show you. Here we go. Let's look at them. George Blanda. Yes, it was against the Chargers. 5 interceptions against the Chargers. Russell Wilson, 4 against the Packers. Joe Ferguson, 4 against the Jets. Bobby Lane, 4 against the Rams. And now, of course, Trevor Lawrence, 4 against the Chargers. So L.A. is on here 3 times. The Chargers are on here twice. I mean, Chargers are on this list a lot more. You can see for yourself. I want to point out the list is bigger than this. I just got to be too long to share in a tweet, and the point of the tweet was the first 4, not the rest. Nobody cared about the 3. So if you care, the link is in that thread. The very next tweet should be me sharing the full list, so you can check that out for yourself and check out all the other incidences where that has happened. But not only was this a great performance by Trevor Lawrence, his first postseason performance, by the way. So yeah, the 4 interceptions are bad. We can't discount that happened, and that was bad. But it was blowing my mind that I saw on Twitter people were calling for Doug Peterson to bench Trevor Lawrence, I think as early as the first half. I mean, I don't think anyone would have called for it after that first drive in the second half. So it had to be happening in the first half. People are calling for Trevor Lawrence to be benched. And I'm not here to completely dispute that argument or all forms of that argument. Let me say that. I'm not there. You could have a case, and I would love to hear it in the comments below. But this particular case, I am going to dispute right now. And the one that I had heard frequently was you need to pull Trevor Lawrence out of this game to save his confidence, to preserve his self-confidence. And I just have to ask those of you who have that take, let me ask you this. How does pulling a quarterback out of his first playoff game after only playing one half, how does that not destroy his confidence? You're going to let him throw 6 picks before you bench him. Benching him will destroy his confidence more than the picks will, because he can be having a bad day, but as soon as coach says, I don't think you're the guy who can win us this game, that's saying a lot more than, I made some really bad throws today. So I don't understand the logic of we need to pull him to spare his feelings so that way he can hopefully win the playoff game next year. It's like, don't you think that if you do that and you mail it in, the next time he's in a playoff game, he's going to be looking over his shoulder and probably play even worse because he knows that as soon as he makes a mistake, he's probably going to get benched? Like, I think that was a terrible idea. The best decision was made. Let him play it out. He's either going to do what he did and get you out of it, or he's not, and he's going to learn from that, and he's going to have that to learn from, all that tape to look at, and he'll be better prepared for next year. So absolutely not. No way they should have benched him. So, but let me know what you think. Maybe you think I'm wrong. I think it was the right move to let him play out, and now he's got a ton of confidence and a very cool – he's already got that big playoff moment. He's had one playoff game. Already has a big playoff moment. So you ride it out. You let these guys – show you if they have it. Trevor has not had to face that type of diversity, especially on a Saturday. But he there it was, He answered the call. That's all I got to say. Never would have found that out if you'd have benched him at halftime. Just unbelievable. This is your franchise quarterback, and you're going to bench him at halftime over 4 interceptions. I don't stand for it. I don't abide by it. So let's see, folks. I believe that is going to take us home. Thank you so much for listening. Again, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We have the audio show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you're listening there, thank you. You can watch us on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube and you don't feel the need to see this mug and the other little visual aids, boom, save yourself some data and join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. There's 8 total platforms. Wherever you find your podcast, we are likely there. If we're not, let me know on Twitter, and I will see what I can do about it. But until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks again.